Today, as many of you know, we're going to be covering Aurora and Flash. Before I dive into anything, I just want to give everyone a brief overview. I know many of you have attended the talk before, but I just want to reiterate again that we're WonderFil Specialty Threads. We carry threads from 100 weight all the way to 3 weight threads, coming in and cotton, rayon, polyester, wool, and different types of blends. So we also have Maura behind the camera, and she'll kind of be helping me show you guys some photos and stuff that may not show up as well on camera. So I'll just ask her to pull up some info every now and then, especially if I need to show you guys how to like navigate the website for different resources and materials. So that's kind of it. I did want to definitely bring up the exciting part of this, which is there's going to be 2 prizes at the end of this thread talk. It will be a full set of Aurora that comes in 8 colors, and a small sample spool of our reflective thread called Flash. So definitely stay till the end and see if you will be one of our lucky winners today. Okay, cool. So let's dive straight into it. So like I said earlier, both these threads work best in the dark. So Aurora is the glow in the dark thread, and Flash is our reflective thread. And they are going to be great threads to use for the upcoming Halloween season, and especially as the days get shorter and the nights get longer, it's kind of nice to have these fun little threads to play with. First, I'll be covering Aurora. So I have them all on a tray because I can't hold them all. But this front row here is Aurora in the 8 colors. There you go. And they all glow a little bit differently. And we'll show you the color comparisons later. But I did want to talk about what makes this glow in the dark. So anything that you own that's glow in the dark actually contains a substance called phosphor. Now, phosphor is usually included into materials to make them glow and glow in different colors. So how phosphor works is that it actually needs to absorb energy in the form of light. So I would say your ambient room light is okay, but sunlight would be a bit stronger, and UV light would be the best if you want this to really glow. So phosphor will absorb the light, and then in the dark, it will actually radiate it out as visible light, which is really cool. So an important thing to remember with anything that you own that's glow in the dark is the longer you leave them out in sunlight or light, the brighter it will glow actually when it's in the dark. So that's kind of a cool fact. And yes, so I wanted to also show you guys some examples of what our thread looks like when it glows in the dark versus kind of just sitting out in normal fluorescent lighting. So Maura, can you help me pull up? Yes, that picture would be good. So as you can see here, the bottom half of this photo is what Aurora looks like in just normal room light. And then the top half of the picture with the black background is what the thread looks like when it's actually in the dark. So it gives off this really cool green color, and you kind of saw it on my skeleton glove and my mask when I was wearing it earlier. And if you just want to pop down to the second, so this is also just some more examples of how the color changes once it glows. So here you can see some pink and blue and also white, green, yellow. And if you go down to the next slide, you can see it changes color because of the phosphor that's in it when it's in the dark. So that is Aurora right there. It's also a 40 weight polyester. I forgot to mention that in the beginning. So it is a great weight to do embroidery with. You don't have to really play around with your tension or anything like that because it's quite standard of a weight to go through your machine. So really fun to play with. Next we have Flash. So Flash is one of my favorite threads. It's actually right here. I don't know if you can see, but it actually has this grayish tinge to it, and that's the reflective fiber. So it's a high visibility thread. And you can really see it. You can really see the magic of Flash at night when a car light might hit it, or a flashlight, a camera light, or you can actually see flecks of it reflecting in ambient room light as well. And let me just pull up my little handy tray again, right here. So Flash also comes in 8 colors, right here. They all have this polyester color, which is kind of like the gray and reds and greens and blues, but it does have that gray reflective fiber in it that makes it glow kind of white. So again, Maura, can you bring up just the single spool? Yes.
Oh, this one?
Yes. Perfect. So here you can see the thread that I was just holding up. It looked red, and then in the top half of the photo is actually just the thread with Flash on when we took a picture. So it's really bright and it's really cool to use on different embroidery pieces or for decorative stitching. And I'll just have Maura pull up another picture so you can see all 8 colors and how they compare to. Awesome. So if you take a look here, you can see what I mean by the polyester kind of being the main color, and then the reflective fiber actually glows white when there's light that hits it. So I wanted to do a live demo for you guys. So here you see the tray, right? I'm just going to use my phone and take a quick picture with Flash on. Let's see. Turn on my Flash. I'll hold up a spool. Okay, so here we go. Took a picture. And you can see how bright that glows once light hits it. And the room, actually, we have lots of lighting for filming today. So it's really bright, but in the dark, it'll actually be even more brilliant. So that's super cool. Okay, and so how does Flash and Aurora come in if you're interested in purchasing it? So they actually don't come in packs, they come in individual spools. And Aurora has 200 yards on it, and Flash has 150 yards on it. So it's perfect for a little small project, or if you're trying to do like a little bit of quilting, you can definitely use a spool for that. And I'll tell you about a great deal at the end of this talk if you're interested in buying more than one spool, which is really fun. So now let's dive into the usages of Aurora and Flash. They are both fine to use in the machine and actually in your hand stitching as well. So I'll be mostly covering machine first, as I'm sure that's mostly what people are a little bit curious about. I do want to cover some tips for success, because that's super important when you're trying a new thread, especially one that kind of has specialty uses. So for all the embroidery samples or all the sewing samples I'm going to show you later, we're actually using an 80-12 needle or a 90-14. So it's either going to be one of those two sizes, and I will mention which samples are what needle size, because it will kind of depend on the fabric and the stabilizer and the technique that you're kind of going for. And I will mention now that stabilizers are super important when you're doing any sort of embroidery, especially for Aurora and Flash as well, and how the outcome will come out to be. Okay, so for example, if we're doing kind of freestanding lace like this, we're using a wash-away stabilizer and a 90-14 needle. And for this, we actually, for the mask I was wearing, where did I put it? Okay, for this mask, we were actually just using 80-12 needle with Wonder Guard, our thread wrapped around it. So it does vary, and you will have to test around to see what best suits the material that you're using. And the reason I say this is because I did want to talk a little bit about breakage in thread or shredding, because that's a common thing that I think people have troubles dealing with when it comes up as they're embroidering or sewing. It can be like super frustrating. So there's kind of there's kind of two ways that your thread can break. It'll either be through shredding or it'll be a clean break. So if you're noticing shredding in your thread after it snaps and you can kind of see the ends of it all frayed out, it actually might be either because your needle is too small. When your needle is too small, the thread will actually rub on the eye of the needle and start damaging the thread. And then secondly, what happens when the needle is too small is the hole that it'll create will also create another point of resistance for the thread. So that will make your thread weaker over time as you stitch and then eventually cause it to break. The second reason that might cause shredding is possibly burrs on your machine. So burrs can occur from your needle just not being sharp or striking the plate, or it might just be like the tiniest little burr, but eventually it can cause your thread to shred. So it's nice to kind of run your fingers down the shaft of your needle to see if you feel anything, or on your throat plate to see if you feel anything. And that's a quick way to see if you have any burrs on your machine. And it's really common too if your needle might strike like a thicker seam that can actually damage the tip of your needle, which can eventually impact how your sewing will show out. So the second way that your thread can break is essentially like a clean break, like it'll just snap. And that's usually because of tension issues. So if your top tension is too tight, your thread can actually just snap. So a quick way to fix that is actually just loosen your top tension all the way, or not all the way, but loosen your top tension quite a lot. And then rethread your whole machine and just try stitching with it. And it'll look a little funky at first, but as you stitch, start tightening the top tension until it starts looking balanced. And then that will definitely help you even out the tension issue that caused snapping of your thread. So those are just things that I thought I would cover because I know embroidery is already a very tedious process, and so is quilting and other sewing things. So thread breakage is definitely the last thing that we want. Okay, so I also did want to cover the bobbin that we use. So for all the samples I'll show you, it is also our 80 weight deco bob. Many of you have heard this probably for the 4th time now. We love using our deco bob. It really makes balancing tension easy, reduces seam bulk, makes our embroidery really soft and nice to wear if we're wearing it, or just very flexible so it's not a stiff piece of cardboard. So deco bob will definitely create more consistent stitches and also reduce those tension issues. Alrighty. The last tip I have before I go into some techniques is to slow down while you're using certain specialty threads. So again, if you're running into any issues, slowing down can actually help resolve many of those issues. But if you're not having any issues, then that's definitely a good thing. But I always encourage you to test on scrap fabric before you actually go on to your real project, because it can be really frustrating having to pick out any of those mistakes. And if any of you guys were in Susan Cleveland's thread talk about, about 2 months ago now, she was saying that if you're going to be testing on a sample while you're sewing, you would actually want to replicate the exact same sandwich or project that you're sewing on. So if it sews fine on that, it should work on your real project. Because if you just grab a random piece of fabric and it sews fine, it may not reflect the same way when you work on your project. So it may be a little bit more work, but it's definitely worthwhile, so you don't have to unpick or reverse sew anything that you do. All right. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is machine embroidery. So I would say this is definitely one of the main uses of Aurora and Flash. And like I said before, they are 40 weight polyesters. So you shouldn't have a problem tension-wise having these go through your machine because it is like a standard embroidery weight thread. And I'm like a broken record, but again, we did use DecoBob for all our embroidery samples here. And when I show you some of these, I'll try my best to list the companies that we got these embroidery designs off of. If any of you guys are curious at looking into these designs and purchasing them yourself. So first we'll go for embroidery that's straight onto fabric. So Maura, can you pull up yes, those photos right there. Perfect. So this is a really cool kind of Day of the Dead themed embroidery design here. We incorporated all 8 colors in here so you could see the difference between what it looks like in room lighting versus in the dark. So this is in the dark. And it's really cool because it almost glows as brilliantly than as if we just took the picture in normal room light. You can see all the outlines just the same. And you can definitely see how the different colors reflect in the dark, or not reflect, but glow in the dark. So it's very cool. And if you want to go to the next one, Maura, these are some little cool coin pouches. And I will say again that I would say for Flash and Aurora, you'll definitely get a more bright result if you have kind of more dense stitching. So whether that's through embroidery or if you're quilting or doing anything with the hand with it, the more dense your stitching will be, the more brilliant it will look at night. So that's really cool, hey? So you see the orange outline and kind of the white. So I think we used white and green for those. So I'm gonna flip between those two a little bit and people can see. There you go. And I actually have the designer of this one. Let me just see. I believe this one may be from OESD. I know for the cutlery holder, which is the next one, if you want to flip between the two, yeah, this one's really cool. This one's from Sweet Pea Designs. Thank you. I'm glad that these comparisons are helping because it is kind of hard to show glow in the dark on live like camera feed. So I hope you guys enjoy looking at some of these photos. And then the next one is one of my personal favorites. It says, I'm a huge fan of space, both outer and personal. And so you can see how it compares there. We got a little astronaut on a floaty and a different one on a Vespa. So that's super cute. And we actually just framed it on a canvas. So you can like hang it on your wall and you can see it at night. Where did we get this design from? Oh, I actually didn't write down for the astronaut one, but you know what? Shelly, we can email it to you because one of our girls in marketing created this one, so I'm sure she knows where she got this design from. The next one we have is actually not Aurora. I want to show you Flash. So Flash is different, right? It doesn't glow, but it reflects. So like I said before, the top one here is kind of room lighting. It's just orange and brown. And then this is what it looks like when we took a picture with Flash on our camera. It just really like pops out at you. This one again is with OESD. So we also got that one from there. And this was also done with a 9014 needle. Okay, and then the next one we have is a little dog vest that you can put on your pet for when you take them out on walks. And I have like an even cuter picture that I'll save for later with the actual dog wearing it, but I do just want to show you the garment here first. So if you want to switch to the second picture, you can really see how that pops. Like if you switch kind of between the two pictures more. Yeah, so it's red, then you can see the reflex. So super, super cool. And for this design, it's very simple. We just use the letters on our embroidery machine. and just did a satin stitch around the edge. So nothing too special, but you can definitely create labels and different types of safety gear just using the letters on your machine or just some basic stitches. So that's really cool. And I do want to say, I don't have it next to me, but we did create a baby onesie with some glow-in-the-dark thread. And we actually also put sometimes, oh, Maura has it. I'm just gonna pass it to me. Thank you. Okay, so we have this cute little onesie with glow-in-the-dark thread, and you can definitely embroider this onto other garments and things like this. But I definitely would recommend having that tearaway stabilizer in the back. And if you're doing garments and it's going to be rubbing on your skin, Salty does make a stabilizer. I believe it's called, I think it's called Gentle Touch. And you can actually iron that on the back of your embroidery designs, so the knots and stuff from the thread aren't irritating the skin, especially if you're making anything for babies and whatnot. Yeah, so very, very cute idea, and I would definitely recommend having those like iron-on Gentle Touch stabilizers so that you don't get any like irritation on the skin. That'll really help when you're making garments. Okay, and then the next bit of embroidery is super fun. It's actually freestanding lace. And I think when I say freestanding lace, probably a lot of you are thinking maybe doilies and things like that, but I'll show you some fun things here. So first, actually I can show you in person, and I'll show you in more detail in the photos, but this is actually made with Aurora, and this is freestanding lace. 90-14 needle and a wash away stabilizer. So if you're doing freestanding lace, I would definitely recommend probably 2 layers of wash away stabilizer. If you're experiencing any puckering or anything like that, it'll just give the thread some more stability to stay even and flat as you're sewing through there. And what else did I write? Yes, to double it up. Okay. So Maura, can you just bring up those photos in detail so they can see? Great. Okay, so that's the skeleton I just pulled up to show you guys. You can really see the detail on the head there. And then we actually also have another skeleton with the 8 colors. You want to go to the next slide? Yes, so we have a multitude of colors on this little guy here too. And let me just show you what it looks like when it glows. So that's the all white one. I want to go to the next one. There we go. So that's like a really cute, fun project to do. This skeleton was also by OESD, called Halloween Couture. That's how you'll find him. So really fun design, and just with wash away stabilizer and just these little tacks here that are pretty easy to find. So I just have them hanging behind me, hanging out with us today in our thread talk. Here's the other little guy. All right. And then I'll go through a few more pictures. So here we did kind of ornamental stuff. So this is with kind of snowflake designs. This is also with freestanding lace, also with the wash away stabilizer. And if you go to the next one here, this is the spider webs. I kind of grabbed one to show you guys earlier. So it's just using our white color. And we didn't alter these photos. We did leave them out in light so they could absorb more light and then glow more for when we're taking the pictures. So these are really cool if you're just kind of putting them around your house for Halloween time. And we also actually, oops, they're a bit of a tangled situation, but I don't know if you guys can see, we actually also kind of put it on this garland here with mini light bulbs that you can light up. And you can do this for other types of freestanding lace, like Christmas theme. They're really fun ideas that are simple to make. And the webs are from Embroidery by TM. Embroidery by TM specializes in freestanding lace. So you can definitely look there if you guys are interested in trying it out. Because all it takes is some stabilizer and some thread, and then you can make lots of different things. And the next picture too is Flash that we also did as an ornament with blue and red. And so it actually looks really beautiful on the Christmas tree because you can kind of see it reflect differently than some of the other ornaments. It definitely adds a nice touch to the tree too. Is freestanding lace same as using thread on top and bottom? We're actually using Deco Bob in the back. Yes, we're using Deco Bob in the back, which is our 80 weight cottonized polyester. So that just makes our embroidery just a lot softer because the thread is a lot thinner. Yeah. So do you want to just switch to, yes, normal view? Perfect. So I just have one of these spider webs here, and it's really flexible, and that's because of the 80 weight. And same with this guy here. This is the skeleton you guys first saw, really soft. And a lot of our embroideries are that way. We created 2 of these masks. One's glow in the dark and one's reflective, and all of them have Deco Bob in the back. Yes, so we really strongly recommend Deco Bob in the bobbin. We found that it really helps even out the stitching, especially with embroidery. You can definitely see the difference sometimes between like a pre-wound bobbin and a machine wound. Of course, there's nothing wrong with machine wound. You should definitely use your machine to its fullest potential. But if you're running into any problems with tension or anything like that, then pre-wound bobbin can definitely help with those types of issues. Okay, and then the next thing I wanted to show you guys, now that we're done with embroidery, it'll still come up every now and then later on, but I do want to move on to decorative stitching. So decorative stitching is like a really easy and fun way to add these elements into your garments or bags or costumes, things like that. Flash is definitely really popular for safety equipment, especially we've had a few ladies on here that stitch on like their motorcycle bag or their bike bags, things like that, so people can see them better at night. I did want to show you behind me. We were at International Quilt Festival 2 years ago, and since it always falls around Halloween time, we all dressed up, all the staff members dressed up as sushis, and our president, Andrew, he actually was the sushi master. So one of my colleagues stitched out this kimono, and she actually used Aurora just decoratively stitched down here. And throughout these designs, she kind of outlined things with our metallic thread or used bits of flash throughout here. So at nighttime, you could always find him and see him, which was really fun. So definitely use this for decorative stitching too if you don't have an embroidery machine, or you want to try this out, but you're a little bit nervous about embroidering with it first. Decorative stitching is a great option. So the next thing is quilting. So we did receive a question about quilting. Yes, you can quilt with this. Again, with the needles that we mentioned, an 80-12 or a 90-14 will work, depending on your sandwich and how thick your quilt is. You'll just have to test that out. We do have hints and tips on our website that I'll show you after this section, just so you guys know where to find all the resources and you don't have to watch this whole video all over again. But let me show you some samples of quilting. Perfect. Okay, so this is actually a baby quilt, and we quilted this with Aurora. So this just looks pretty normal. You can't really notice, but then once you switch off the lights, then you can see the real effect of it. So that's those little elephants down there. Again, you can see this is actually just a single strand of Aurora going across and kind of outlining the elephants. If you want something even brighter, I would suggest like packing the quilt a little bit more densely, or really filling up more space if you want it to glow even brighter. And don't forget to like charge the quilt out in sunlight or in, you know, your room light for some time, and then at night you'll really see the brilliance of it. And then next is one of my favorites. This is done by a quilter named Ana Paula Brazil. She actually also had an exhibit in Houston before, and she really loves using our glow-in-the-dark threads because she's like a very creative, crafty person, and she loves the fact that it's kind of like a surprise in your quilt. And you'll see what I mean when Maura switches to the next one. So you can see there, that owl was actually in the picture you previously saw, but it kind of just looks like very subtle unless you look closely. But then once you see it in the dark, you really see the flowers there and the owl pop out, especially when she plays with those negative spaces. So super, super fun. And yes, it'd be really great for a youth quilt. I agree with that for sure. And you can see here the way that she densely quilted was kind of, it was definitely free motion, and she just kind of went everywhere. So then when it's dark, that those empty spaces would really glow with the white Aurora. And then last but not least, I did want to cover some craft ideas that you guys can do for both Aurora and Flash. I showed you guys earlier, but these were some masks that we made like this. So, you know, trick-or-treating, these are super fun and safe to use. We actually do have a YouTube channel or a YouTube video on how to make this mask with the free pattern and everything too. And we did them in both Aurora and Flash. So you can kind of take your pick. They'll both have really fun outcomes when it's nighttime. And another fun thing that you guys saw at the beginning, hopefully it wasn't too scary, was these guys. So you can wear these either at the front or the back. And these are the glow-in-the-dark. This is the glow-in-the-dark thread, Aurora. So this is actually the freestanding lace. We did wash away stabilizer, and then we actually just appliqued this onto the glove. We didn't embroider onto the glove. We appliqued these pieces on there. I'm not sure if you guys can see. It's not actually attached from embroidery, but from applique. We have a question. Have you tried using thread with a long arm? Yes, we actually did that baby quilt with the elephants with the long arm machine. So I would recommend slowing down a little bit, and then also what helps is using like a Wonder Guard or something to help with like the consistency of the thread that comes off the spool. So yeah, you can definitely use this in your long arm machine. And then some other crafts I have is this is just a pouch that you can wear when you're outside taking a walk or if you're jogging or anything like this. We just have that decorative stitch going down with Flash. So let me do another live demo. Hopefully you guys don't mind waiting for me. Okay, I got my Flash on. Let me just take a picture. Okay. So you see blue here, right? You can see how it reflects there. Pretty cool, hey? So really cool, really fun to make, especially a lot of, I know a lot of you guys make bags and things like that. It's a fun element to add, and it's not too blatantly just like reflective thread on your bag. So if you don't like the look of it, it doesn't stand out like that. It does blend in like a normal, pretty specialty thread, and then at night you can really see the magic of it. And I was talking about the dog vest before. Let me show you the dog vest in action. So Maura, can you pull up the picture? This is Scooter with the vest on. So again, you can see the red thread, the red flash, and then with a light hitting it. So this is just a flashlight. It's not a camera flash. So it would definitely reflect the same if the car was driving by or if there were just some direct light that was hitting it. Like, yeah, so there we go there. And let me see if I'm missing anything. But this is, okay, we have this other cute embroidery idea here. It just says trick or treat, and it glows in the dark. We just use tearaway stabilizer, as you can see here. And then at nighttime, this will also glow. I'm glad you guys like the demos. Yeah, definitely great for art quilts if you guys are interested in doing those kinds of things too. Really, really fun. Let me see here. That was about it in terms of showing you guys all the samples that I have for Flash and Aurora. This is also with Flash. This is just a little mug rug. So lots of really cool and different applications that you guys have here. And before I dive into the deal and the prize winners, do you guys have any sorts of questions, anything I can answer for you guys? I'm glad you guys like seeing the samples. I like seeing them too. I know this isn't exactly Halloween themed, but it is coming up, and Aurora and Flash are really popular for when this season rolls around. So, okay. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, feel free to always shoot us a message. Let me show you on our website too, where you can find some resources. Again, so you don't have to rewatch this whole entire video or this talk. So this is our landing page. This is just wonderfil.ca. If you go to products, under products, you will find media and resources. So.
Oh, this thing is in the way.
1 second. There we go, media and resources. So you just click into this. And if we scroll down, you can actually have access to all our digital color charts from all our thread lines, including Aurora and Flash. Yes, so you can even see what it looks like, the comparison pictures, to give you guys a better idea. If you scroll down, oh yes, and this is Aurora as well. So there you are. If you scroll down a bit more, there are hints and tips. So if you want to just click on Aurora, just for example, here are some of the listed machine needle sizes I recommended, and also the different applications you guys can use it for. I don't have a physical sample here, but I have also seen some of our customers use the reflective thread and knit it into hats or different types of stitching, like yarn projects, so that when they're wearing a hat or mittens, they actually have the thread going through there too. So it's also a really cool idea that like we didn't think of. It was really cool to see. And then anything else about the thread you'll be able to find on here. Even I know a couple of you guys were asking about the bobbin. If we scroll down even below, you'll see something that says bobbin guide at the bottom of the page. Yep, once you click into here, then you'll be able to find your machine. And also it will indicate the type of bobbin it takes. So for example, if you carry a Bernina, I know not all Berninas take pre-wound bobbins. Some Berninas are unique and you have to wind them yourself, but Maura, can you scroll up a tiny bit? So you'll be able to see a legend in the top right corner, and that will indicate what size your bobbin is. And that's just really useful information to know, whether that is for buying pre-wounds or if you want to buy some empty bobbins. It's always good to know what bobbin your machine takes. So yeah, I would say that is definitely a very helpful tool to use. And that pretty much wraps up my presentation on Aurora and Flash. Okay, now for the exciting part, it is the giveaway time. So like I mentioned before, the winner of the giveaway will win a full set of Aurora plus a sample spool of Flash. So can we get a drum roll? Okay, our first winner is Rosemary White. Do we have Rosemary here? Okay, Mora just typed her name in the chat. Rosemary, if you can email marketing.
Oh, I'm gonna email her.
Okay, we will email you guys. We will email you, Rosemary. So congratulations. And our second winner is Tracy Visser. Do we have a Tracy Visser in our chat? Congratulations to you too. We will contact you through email and make sure you get to win this awesome, awesome prize. Oh, there you go. There you are. Yay! Congratulations. And thank you all so much for attending. You can always follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube for weekly tips. We always release a lot of educational information. So please give us a follow where you guys are using your social medias. And if you enjoyed these kind of talks, definitely recommend your friends to sign up for our newsletter, and they can listen to our monthly talks as well. There you are, Rosemary. Congratulations. Congratulations on your thread. So yes, we will contact you. Thank you so much for attending. Our next topic will be super exciting as well. I'm not sure what it will be, but I'm sure maybe it might be Christmas related ideas. Who knows? But definitely stay in the loop, keep up with our newsletters, and I'll see you all very soon. Thank you again for attending, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye. Thank you.